Hello there, tiny denizens of the internet, and welcome to another edition of the Ragamuffin Speaks. Once again, it's a special edition. The last time we did a special edition, it's because London Super Comic Con was approaching, and guess what? It's approaching again. I mean, you just have one London Super Comic Con, and then another one comes along. It never ends. Last time I was talking about the fact that I would be doing a portfolio review for Markosia at the show, which I will be doing again from 1:30 to 2:30 on the Saturday. Pencilers, inkers, colorists, letterers, come along, show me your stuff, and I will tell you how badly you suck. No, but seriously, last time everybody was really, really good, so, you know, who knows? What am I talking about this time? This time, yeah, there was a great response to that video, and a lot of people said, can you do something like that, but for writers? The short, tiny answer to that is no. The long answer to that is this video. So, yeah, writers. Portfolio reviews doesn't really work. I mean, I've had people say, oh, can I bring a sample of my scripts along to the portfolio review? No. Because editors don't have time to read scripts generally at the best of times. Certainly not spec scripts. Obviously, they read a script they're editing, one would hope. But certainly nobody has time to read a spec script, and certainly nobody has time to read a script at a show. And if you hand me a script at a show, the odds are it won't even make it back here. You know, it'll stay at the show in a round receptacle for waste paper, and that's awful, but it's true. So what do you do if you're a writer? You know, and we've all been there. Those of us who work on this side of the industry, you're sitting at your table at a convention, and somebody shuffles up to the table, and they have a little folder of papers there, and they say the words come out of their mouth. Hi, I'm a writer, because we're all nervous, and you should send me the first time at a convention. And immediately your heart sinks, because you know that what they're gonna try and give you words, and that's no good. So what do you do as a writer? And you're a writer, you want to get into comics. What do you do? That's a good question. I'm still, you know, from some people's point of view, I've made it. I'm a writer in comics. I have published work. From my point of view, you know, I want to be writing the X-Men, and I'm not doing that. So I'm not there yet. You know, I want to be obviously writing for Marvel or DC or Dark Horse or IDW or Top Cow or Zenoscope or any of those people. But, you know, I'm at least further in than probably some of the people who are watching this and going, how do I get to there? And then the next hopeful bit is getting on. You know what I'm saying. So you're a writer, you want to get into comics. What do you do? The short answer to that is make comics. And people, you know, it's not easy. You write a comic, you find an artist, you get that comic made. That's the first hurdle, and finding artists is difficult. Well, it's not difficult. There's artists everywhere, but finding artists when you have no money is difficult. Should you pay artists if you've got the money to spare? Yes, but my experience would be that if you can find artists who have that same passion and drive as you to break in, if you work with them, oftentimes, you know, with the same goals, you will get probably better results than if you're paying. Well, probably not better results than if you're paying, because if you're paying, you can pay somebody, you know, who's really, really good. But anyway, yeah, try and find artists. I mean, where do you find artists? Conventions is a good place. Obviously, go to a convention, meet up with like-minded people, people in the industry who are also creators, and you'll meet people that way. Online is a great way, you know, through DeviantArt. There is full of artists, and it never hurts to ask. You know, it really never hurts to ask. The worst thing that's going to happen is somebody's going to say, no, sorry, I can't, I don't have the time, or I'm at a point in my career where I have to, I can only do paid work, or something like that. that's the worst that can happen. The best that can happen is they'll go, yes, I'd love to do that. That's brilliant. Let's do it. Let's go. And that's the best feeling in the world. And then I still get that now when I have to write to artists and say, would you like to work with me? And it's crap when they say, sorry, I can't. But the feeling when they say, yes, this idea is great and I really want to work with you and that's great and let's go for it, is wonderful. So that's one way to meet artists. You know, and there are on Digital Webbing has forums for finding collaborators, has 2 sections, I believe. I haven't been on there in a while. Paid and unpaid. So if you're looking for collaborators specifically who are willing to work on a back-end deal, or you know, back-end deal would be a share of the potential profits that the comic book may or may not make at some point in the future. So there are ways to find people, you know, just, you know, get involved in the comics community and, you know, you'll run into artists. So that's the first step. So then you've made your comic. What do you do with it? And this is where I see the second big mistake from aspiring writers come in, is that you're sitting at the table and somebody shuffles up to you and they're a writer and they hand you a comic, and a lot of people say, you know, this is the best thing. You know, editors, they won't read a script but they'll read a comic. They will, but they'll generally read the comics they want to read rather than just something that somebody's handed them at a convention, you know. Occasionally it'd be good to give comics to people at conventions. Generally, I would say it's better to give it to other creators who you like, just as a, hey, you know, here, have my comic. It's, you know, I think you'll like it, rather than, you know, anything else. That's a great way to build relationships and get connections and stuff. But giving comics to editors doesn't necessarily work. It's not ever worked for me. I'm sure people will tell you stories where it's worked for them, because as some people say, you know, breaking in to comics with writing, if you ask 100 writers how to do it, you'll get 100 different stories about how they got in. So anyway, yes, where was I? So what do? You've found your artist, you've made your comic, you've put it all together and it looks lovely. Print it, get a table at a convention and sell it, and build an audience. That's the key. Create a buzz, have people know about your work, have other publishers then take an interest in what you're doing because of that. I'm not saying necessarily become a publisher. I'd still debate whether Orangutan Comics is a publisher or a studio or what the hell we are. We've never tried to pigeonhole ourselves, and well, actually we have tried and failed to pigeonhole ourselves in the past. But yeah, we aren't a definite thing, and I think that's important at this level, because then that frees you up to work with other publishers, like the way that we work with Markosia. That's very important. So yeah, get a table at conventions, and it's going to cost you money. This is the one thing that is almost the unfair end of this level of the industry, is that it tends to be the writers who hemorrhage money trying to get in. But yeah, so be sensible with your print runs. I mean, I had somebody come up to me at a convention once and they were like, so we're doing this comic and I just want some advice and that. We're thinking of printing 5,000 copies of our comic. And I was like, don't. And they were like, oh, but we can afford it. I went, don't. Why would you do that? The odds of you selling 5,000 copies on the UK convention circuit are a gajillion to 1. I don't think there are 5,000 people who... I suppose there are, because, yeah, you're not going to sell 5,000 copies, you know. And in this day and age with digital printers like Kablam and Comics Press, and certainly UK Comics, who are wonderful, they do all of our stuff. You can do short runs. You can do 25, 50, 100 copies, and that will last you a few cons, and then we'll give you the money to get more. Yes, your unit price, to be boringly technical, is going to be higher per issue, but your total cost is going to be lower, and that means that your turnover will be a lot healthier, rather than having like £1,500 worth of stock sitting there gathering dust. So, but you don't want to be a publisher, you want to be a writer. Right. all you've got to worry about is your one comic, and get to a show, sell it, meet people, meet readers, not fans, because they won't be your fans yet, and blah. That's, for me, that's been the way to do it. You know, become a part of the comic scene wherever you are, whether that be in the US, whatever state you're in, or the UK. There are places you can get your stuff out to people. Get online, use, you know, drive-through comics, Comixology if you can get on there, and Graphically, and all the other various digital platforms that are out there, to enable you to get your comic out there. And that won't even cost you anything. That won't cost you a penny. All it will do is make you money. Maybe not a lot, but a little bit. You know, and if you print through Kablam, or even just print one copy through Kablam, you can set up and sell print copies through Indie Planet, which helps and brings in a little bit of money, and means you don't have to worry about having stock, and people can just order online. So this is, I mean, this is the pain. If you want to be a writer in comics, generally you have to get a lot more industry-wise and into the industry than you do as an artist, because you are going to be publishing almost certainly, you know. And if you're lucky, you won't. But then, even then, if you're with a smaller publisher like Markosia or something like that, you are going to need still to get to conventions and to get copies of your book off of them, and to build an audience that way. It's not, you can't rely, I mean, even the guys at Marvel don't just rely on Marvel to promote their books and to build an audience. They're online, they're on Tumblr, they're on Twitter, they're on, you know, various other social networks, trying to promote their stuff, trying to get you to buy it, and trying to build an audience, because it's not enough to just do what you do and leave a publisher to promote it, because you just won't sell anything that way. You'll sell a bit, an initial print run of a few hundred copies, and then that's it. It's definitely, as a writer, it's something you have to really be in there for the long haul. You have to be prepared to do a lot of travelling. You have to be prepared to project manage, and that's that. I mean, it's not. And then once you've built up a reputation and people know you've seen your books and people know you do quality work, hopefully, then you can talk to other publishers about doing stuff for them, and sometimes they'll approach you directly and want you to do stuff for them. It helps to have other skills. I mean, for me, I do pre-press and lettering and inking and colouring and everything else, and that's helped me build relationships with publishers. But if you're just a writer, you're just going to have to work to stick at it and really, really want it. It's not going to happen instantly. It's not going to happen overnight. It is going to take probably years. And most of the guys who are hot new talent writers in comics, like, I mean, Kieran Gillen is the hot new thing, and Kieran's been on the scene, the UK comic scene, for longer than I have, obviously. But you know, working in it, and you've got to really just want it, and it be the only thing that you want, and to go for it. And it's going to take work, and there's going to be a hell of a lot of setbacks, and you know, some projects, you know, I've been working on for like 6 or 7 years and they still aren't finished, and it's frustrating because you want to get your writing out there, but just persevere, you know. I think, you know, learn from your mistakes. When I started out, you know, we straight away were like, oh, we'll print, you know, 200 copies and we'll get a table at this convention and it'll be huge and it'll be big and we'll sell loads and it'll be wonderful, and you know, and then at the end of the day you've spent like 500 quid, and at the end of the convention you've made 60 quid, and that's not the time to give up. That's the time to just keep going and going and going and going, and one day you'll get there. As I said, London Super Comic Con is in a couple of weeks, not even that now, I think. I'm doing portfolio reviews for Markosia from 1:30 till 2:30. Do come along. Do come and see us at the orangutan booth. It's there. Do pre-order the there it is, the Hero 95 Quietus London Super Comic Con exclusive preview edition, or just come along and buy it from the Orangutan booth, and you can get a free copy of 11th Hour Volume 1 with that, and it'll be great, and I'll sign it, and shit, man, who the fuck am I? But yes, anyway, that's that, I think. I hope it's been some help, and not just discouragement, but I hope it's set, I know other writers and myself have, you know, our first few conventions, you know, you spend wandering around going, what the hell do I do? And the important thing, the message basically is, stop wandering around, sit down behind a table with a comic in front of you and sell it to people. And that is one way to break into comics as a writer. And hopefully, you know, somebody will come along and pick it up and want to publish your stuff. This is why breaking into comics for writers is incredibly hard. So there you go. That's me. And I'll see you at the London Super Comic Con. Goodbye.